Hello folks, I got an amazing poem for you today. Now, all poems are favourites, but some are more favourite than others, and this has got to be one of those more favourite than others. I love the poetry, but also it's got some amazing illustrations. The illustrations are just very special. And I'm going to, well, I'll tell you the story first. It's all about a knight who's, the poem is entitled "The Knight Whose Armour Didn't Squeak," and this is wise, brave Sir Thomas Thom, wise Sir Thomas Thom, and he's a bit special, a bit effete. That's a big word. Effete. Well, actually, it's quite a small word, isn't it? It's only 5 letters, but maybe 6. Can't spell. But effete. Look it up. So he doesn't like, doesn't like fights and things, but he does like, he's very clever, and so he sort of goes around, just acting the part and doing clever things, but the thing about him, his armour doesn't squeak, and as far as he's aware, he's the only knight in Appledore whose armour, that's the place where he lived, whose armour didn't squeak. And then he goes out during the day and he pretends to be brave, and if another knight comes along, he either hides in a tree or hides in a ditch until the night is gone. Anyway, one day a knight comes along whose armour also doesn't squeak, and Sir Thomas Thom is enraged, and he's so enraged he gets on his horse, even spurs it to a rapid trot, shock horror, and chases after this other knight who is brave Sir Hugh, isn't it? Brave Sir Hugh, I think that's his name. Yes, there he is, and blips him on the head and relieves him of his armour, chucks it in a pond. And so thereafter, his armour, of course, gets rusty and squeaks. And so thereafter, Sir Thomas Thom is still top knight. He's still the only knight whose armour doesn't squeak. And there are some wonderful illustrations. It's quite a long poem. See how we get on. If you're very good, we may have another one at the end. It depends, but you've got to be very, very good. Now, so let's see if I can do this correctly. Here we have, and I always get it wrong, don't I? There's Sir Thomas Thom, and what we got down there, a picture of, what is it? Oh, Thomas Thom being very studious and writing letters and things. And then over this side, we've got Sir Thomas Thom standing at his castle, top of his castle, and down here, sort of there-ish, we have a knight who's challenging him the other side of the moat. I love that little picture there. So enraged. He's raising his fist, and Sir Thomas Thom couldn't give tuppence. He's just standing there like top knight, which he is, of course, top knight. Then over the page, we have a picture of, there we go, there's Sir Thomas Thom there. And you see another knight comes along, so Thomas Thom gets in a tree, a hollow tree, there he goes, like King Charles something or other. History, rubbish. And then, once the night has passed, Sir Thomas Thom climbs up, in this case, climbs up through the tree, and he blows a trumpet blast. It's the equivalent of a na 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 na. The knight's equivalent of a na, one of those. And then here we are. There's another example of this is when Sir Thomas Thom sees brave Sir Hugh coming along. Brave Sir Hugh, of course, his armour doesn't squeak. So there's Sir Thomas Thom resting in a handy ditch, and here's brave Sir Hugh, and Sir Thomas Thom is enraged, and so over the page just gets exciting her. So he rushes to his horse, and I love this picture here. You need to get the book, really. You probably can't see it, but it looks as though the horse is sort of totally gobsmacked. What is this? Sir Thomas Thom is running. This is what? Sort of almost as if look at his eyes there of the horse. And then down here we have Sir Thomas Thom having got on his horse, and he chases brave Sir Hugh, blips him on the head, and brave Sir Hugh thinks it's a thunderstorm and falls off his horse. And then on this side we have the picture of there's brave Sir Hugh rubbing his head with a blip on it, and armourless. He's had his armour taken off him, and there's Sir Hugh, Sir Thomas Thom riding away, having chucked the armour in the pond. If you look carefully there, you may just be able to make out some ducks. And then over the page, it's a great. I love this last illustration. I'm afraid the small boy has been at it again, but here we have some local yokels. There's Sir Thomas Thom on his horse, and some small boy has coloured the Sir Thomas Thom in red, so you can't really see him. But I'm going to get another copy of this book, and then I'll be able to show you the illustrations. And then on this side, you've got two local yokels. And there'd be Sir Thomas Thom, he be top man, all that sort of business. I love that picture. It's sort of swigging a pint of ale or whatever they swagged in those days. There's such good illustrations. They are such good illustrations. E.H. Shephard, thanks for those. Okay, now for the poem, and the poem is really very clever too. It's just, if you know about poems, you'll know this is clever, and if you don't know about poems, you'll also know that it's clever because it rhymes and stuff. Okay, The Knight Whose Armour Didn't Squeak, without more ado, by A. Milne. Of all the knights in Appledore, the wisest was Sir Thomas Thom. He multiplied as far as 4, and knew what 9 was taken from to make 11. He could write a letter to another knight. No other knight in all the land could do the things which he could do. Not only did he understand the way to polish swords, but knew what remedy a knight should seek, whose armour had begun to squeak. And if he didn't fight too much, it wasn't that he didn't care for blips and buffetings and such, but felt that it was hardly fair to risk by frequent injuries a brain as delicate as his. His castle, Castle Thom, was set conveniently on a hill, and daily, when it wasn't wet, he paced the battlements until some smaller knight who couldn't swim should reach the moat and challenge him. Or sometimes, feeling full of fight, he hurried out to scour the plain, and, seeing some approaching knight, he either hurried home again or hid, and when the foe was past, blew a triumphant trumpet blast. That's the na-na-na-na-na I was telling you about. One day, when good Sir Thomas Thom was resting in a handy ditch, the noises he was hiding from, though very much the noises which he'd always hidden from before, seemed somehow less, or was it more? The trotting horse, the trumpet's blast, the whistling sword, the armour squeak, these, and especially the last, had clattered by him all the week. Was this the same, or was it not? Something was different, but what? His armour doesn't squeak. Sir Thomas raised a cautious ear, and listened as Sir Hugh went by, and suddenly he seemed to hear, or not to hear, the reason why this stranger made a nicer sound than other knights who lived around. Sir Thomas watched the way he went. His rage was such he couldn't speak. For years they'd called him down in Kent the knight whose armour didn't squeak. Yet here and now he looked upon another knight whose squeak had gone. He rushed to where his horse was tied. He spurred it to a rapid trot. The only fear he felt inside about his enemy was not how sharp his sword, how stout his heart, but has he got too long a start? Sir Hugh was singing hand on hip, when something sudden came along and caught him a terrific blip right in the middle of his song. A thunderstorm, he thought, of course, and toppled gently off his horse. Then said the good Sir Thomas Thom, dismounting with a friendly air, "Allow me to extract you from the heavy armour that you wear. At times like these the bravest knight may find his armour much too tight." 100 yards or so beyond the scene of brave Sir Hugh's defeat, Sir Thomas found a useful pond and, careful not to wet his feet, he brought the Armour to the brink and flung it in and watched it sink. So ever after, more and more, the men of Kent would proudly speak of Thomas Tom of Appledore, the knight whose armour didn't squeak, whilst Hugh, the knight who gave him best, squeaks just as badly as the rest. And I'll show you those pictures again because they're so good. Here we have right at the start. There's Sir Thomas Tom doing studious things, writing letters and things to another. Write a letter to another knight, and multiplying as far as 4, and knowing what 9 was take 11 to make, whatever it was anyway. And here we have him on the battlement when it's not raining, of course. And down there we have a smaller knight challenging him. And then we have the old climbing in a hollow tree, and then the na-na-na-na-na bit, the trumpet blast. And here we have Sir Thomas Tom watching brave Sir Hugh approach with his armour not squeaking. And there we have Sir Thomas Tom rushing to a very bemused horse, and there we have him catching him a terrific blip right in the middle of his song. A thunderstorm, he thought, of course, and toppled gently off his horse. I do like those lines. And then down there, what we got? Yes, there we have brave Sir Hugh without his armour, and the armour's in the pond. And there we have the ducks, and there we have good Sir Thomas Tom, wise Sir Thomas Tom, racing out. And in the final thing, there we have the local yokel saying, "Ooh, there be Sir Thomas Tom, whose armour doesn't squeak and all, and he's proper job, and we're really proud of him." That's probably the sort of conversation that's going on, except it's in Kent, so they probably wouldn't have that sort of accent. Would anybody? Anyway, so that's a great poem. Oh, 12 minutes already. Gosh, we probably better stop there. Thanks for listening, and see you next time. Have a great day.